Real quick, can you just say...
Good times!
If you want more content from We Studios, check us out at wepodcast.com.
If you want more content...
If you want more content from We Studios, check us out at wepodcast.com.
I need cue cards for that. I'm too drunk right now.
All right. So, yeah, go there if you want to check out our Simpsons podcast, worst episode ever. Check out our Reddit, our Twitter, all that jazz.
It's all there. All the links are there. And while you're there, you can also click our Amazon links, which help keep the show free. We get a little small cut. Or you can just go to amazon.wepodcast.com. That's amazon.weepodcast.com.
Wepodcast.com.
Whoa!
60 minutes around the clock and straight out of We Studios. This is 90s Percentile. My name is Jack.
And my name is Dan, and we are talking everything 90s and maybe also everything before and after.
That's right, and talking everything before and after and 90s and all that stuff with us is our guest, Chris Kiernan. How's it going, Chris?
Pretty good. Thank you guys for having me. And you said my name right,
I
which
know.
is nice.
It took a lot of practice. Chris, you are one of the longest and oldest supporters of We Studios, from way back in our early days of Worst Episode Ever. Our big diehard fans would know you from the Reddit. You're participating in the Reddit with them, and also the comments on our website when we used to do comments.
That's
before
right.
All those,
Before
those racist comments that we had to turn the comments off.
Yeah.
That's not why we turned them off.
Reddit's better. We like Reddit better.
Reddit's much better. But yeah, apparently I've name-checked
There's no
you.
racist comments on Reddit. That's for certain.
Never.
So I've name-checked you on on both of our podcasts multiple times.
Incorrectly.
And I've gotten your name wrong every single time.
It's not that hard of a name either. It's a very, very common Irish name.
Kiernan. Right?
There you go.
First try, nailed it.
Yeah,
I did have to watch you suffer through it, though.
I'm not Irish. I have trouble with the tongue.
You're not Irish, are you kidding me, laddie?
And then I said, and I literally just before we recorded, I said, well, that's weird because it's spelt exactly the same as Kiernan Culkin, and I say that right, and then apparently that's not.
Apparently it's Kieran?
I think it's just Kieran.
There's no N.
Kieran Culkin. So apologies to Kieran Culkin. We'll
I'm
give
just
you a
gonna
Miller
start calling
handshake
him
someday.
Macaulay too.
Did you say Macaulay?
Fuck. Wait, Macaulay. Yeah, that's how you say it.
Macaulay? Like cauliflower.
Macaulay.
No,
Macaulay.
It's Macaulay.
Well, I know it's spelled,
like
but
cauliflower.
But it's cauliflower. No, it's not. No, I
Is
always
this a-
say.
is this a liverwurst thing?
I've always said Macaulay Culkin. I've never said Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
I know that's how it's spelled.
He's the only one with that name. So
He is. It's true.
I mean, I
All
don't know
right.
if there's a correct way to actually say it.
Macaulay sounds more Irish if we're doing the Kiernan.
If your name is Macaulay or Macaulay, write in. We want to know how you're pronouncing it. And if you're
Let's just
Macaulay
get the
Culkin,
Culkin brothers all on the
Let's
show.
just do it.
The topic will be
all
their
right.
names.
You got Rory. You got Kieran. You got Macaulay.
It's actually Rary.
Oh, man. So we're batting 1,000 today, but we're not talking about the Culkins today.
No, we're baking in our studio.
We are. It's very, very hot and humid today. So we may take a break and just turn on the air. We'll see.
We'll see. I think we should start doing like I don't know if MTV still does this. They certainly did in the 90s, but where they would spend the entire summer down the Jersey Shore.
Of course,
and
the
do
MTV
the
Beach
episodes
House.
on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should start doing the Wee Beach House and just record straight out of a swimming pool.
Let's do it.
Can we bring this equipment into a swimming pool?
I think that's okay. I think that's fair.
We'll just get Lord Matthew Wade to buy us
Yeah,
some
you
stuff.
may need to buy us some new stuff. We're going to experiment this summer
You can-
with swimming pool recording.
You can record. You can talk about Disney in the pool with us if you buy us replacement equipment.
But only Disney in the pool is the topic. Like, we have to talk about Disney-related scenes in pools. I can't think
Sandlot.
of one. The Sandlot. Was that a Disney movie? It probably
Probably.
is.
Yeah,
It
sure.
must be.
I don't know.
When Smalls fakes dying to get a smooch from the hot lifeguard.
He mouth raped
It
her.
was a different time, kids.
Benny the Jet is actually a anthropomorphic jet.
Yeah, people didn't know that the Sandlot tied into planes like
It's a
that.
prequel,
but
yeah.
it's a prequel. Yeah, it's crazy.
The kid that disappeared and we never saw him again.
Yep.
He became the Larry the Cable Guy's spy truck.
Yep, that's exactly
from
what
Cars
happened.
2. I mean, it's very
It's crazy
simple.
how the Sandlot set up so much in the Pixar world.
Well, it was the Sandlot universe. That's
It
the new
was.
thing now. All these connected movie universes.
Yeah.
So they started. It started with the Sandlot.
It's nuts.
People thought it started with Iron Man.
It didn't. It was the
It
Sandlot.
was the Sandlot.
And the Sandlot 2 and 3. Sandlot 3, A Twist in Time.
Well, said actually they just announced that the new Sandlot movie it was supposed to be broken up into 2 parts because it's got 87 different Sandlot characters.
Right. Well,
in
they're
it.
bringing the entire Sandlot
but
team
they
back.
back.
But the Russo brothers realized that they could actually combine it into one single Sandlot movie. So
Yeah.
it'll be 3 hours long. But
Yep. I'm there, day one, front row center.
it was really, I thought, as much as I liked the last Sandlot movie, I thought Spider-Man was a little shoehorned in.
It was. Pop, 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 pop.
Hey guys, we're going to hit a home run.
He got that ball back quickly, though.
He did. He just jumped over that fence.
No erector set. He just shot the
Flip.
web over.
How are we going to get this ball?
got
Oh,
it.
he got it.
Over in 5 minutes.
Hey guys, I got it.
I did like James Earl Jones's cameo as Aunt May, though. It was
I'm so old, and I am your father. Really tied into a lot of Disney
all the
properties.
everything just tied in.
It just made a lot of sense. But we're not here to talk about the Sandlot unless that is a topic
That
that,
would be
comes
really
up.
funny.
It would be odd. But Chris, thank you for being our guest here today. You, as our guest, can pick the first topic, or if you want, you can cede your right, and we will go to our random topic generator to get our first topic. And if you're listening and you want to suggest a topic, go to our website. It's 90spercentile.wordpress.com.
Unless we've changed the website
Unless
by
we've
now,
changed it.
which we haven't.
Which we probably have not. So, Chris, I'm going to turn to you and I'm going to say, what is the first topic?
Well, I want to
Do you
preface
have a
this.
topic?
Yes, I first want to preface with saying I had to look up the statute of limitations on this one, but my topic is illegal cable.
Illegal cable.
cable.
Okay,
I'm
so
thinking it's a '90s thing. I mean, my family had it in the '90s, so there we go.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure people were stealing cable before the '90s, but there was also
Right.
a Seinfeld pilot before the '90s, and we did Seinfeld.
that's
so
true. You know what? You're right, Jack. Okay, so let's talk about illegal cable. We used to call it the hot box.
That's
I don't know
what
if that was
exactly
ju-
it
is that
was.
just that was everybody. Okay,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. We had cable. I don't know if this is your experience. Also, we had cable.
La-ti-da, the balls.
We paid for cable like good Americans, but we also had a hot box where you got all the pay-per-views for free and all the movie channels, and it was fucking great as a wrestling fan,
Oh,
especially growing up.
Of course. That was actually what I was going to say. That was the one thing. And I can actually remember when I got it and when I lost it, just based on the last and first wrestling I saw.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we used to have like wrestling parties like every, this was
wow.
back in the day, the early 90s when they didn't have a pay-per-view every month, and now
Before
they're
parties were banned
yeah, well, now
by the
they-
Clinton administration.
it's true. Oh, Hillary clamped down on those parties.
The other Clinton administration.
Nope. She was pulling the strings. We all knew it. She hated the WWE, and she hated
She's
me
a man
personally.
hater.
She was at WrestleMania 10. I don't know if everyone remembers that. Her and Bill.
They were. It's true. But anyway, we used to have like big parties, and it was awesome. And there were only like 3 or 4 pay-per-views a year at that time. And those are some of my most treasured childhood memories. So.
I had a hot box very, very early in my childhood, and basically I had a.
It wasn't that hot. Also, it was fairly
It
cool
was-
to the touch.
I mean, if
But
you left it
continue.
on too
Turn it off
long.
once in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
you gotta. It's like when you're playing Wii and every hour it says you should take a 15-minute break.
Yeah,
Open
right,
a
right.
window. And we're like, no, more
No,
Mario
I
Kart.
want to play video games.
No, yeah. So basically, I had a more or less a more upper middle class childhood up until I was 5 years old, and then when my dad left, we suddenly became a lower middle class, and that's where I moved in with my uncle, and my bologna was stolen, and all that.
Yes, we know all about the baloney saga.
So, but that first 5 years, we had, we had nice things, and we had that hot box,
Right.
But I don't remember really getting the most out of it because I was so young. But I do remember the channels.
Are you talking
were-
about porn? Is that what you're?
no.
Is that
I
the
just
most out
mean,
of it?
like,
We'll talk about that
I
later.
was, wasn't really watching
I understand.
movies and stuff yet. Although I do remember one night I was with my dad and we were like on the couch. I guess it was stolen. It was certainly, I think it was like HBO or something. And it was this short film, and it was like 2 guys playing Russian roulette.
Okay.
And it was really dark, and I remember being really little and like being traumatized by this
Yeah.
movie. Anyway,
I wonder if there's a Tales from the Crypt episode because I think there is an episode where they play Russian roulette.
I was so young that I only have like glimpses of it. I don't even remember the context. It might not have even been a short film, but I bet you it was.
It could have been real life.
Was it like in a dark?
It's a nice
dark
scat film.
room, like maybe like along like a longer dinner table kind of thing.
I think so.
Maybe it was a Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, it could've
Anyway,
been.
the one thing I really remember about the hot box was the channels were screwy. Like ABC,
Yeah, the
which is
channels were
usually
not the
channel
right
7
channels.
in New York, it was like channel 24 or something. And I
Yes.
remember that was very frustrating to me because I was still learning to count.
Yeah, right. And one thing that was cool about the just if you're a youngster, we're old. So let's just explain how cable was working back in the day with pay-per-view, especially. There was no on-demand where you just did it. what would happen is you would order pay-per-view and it would like unlock the channel on a normal box for a certain amount of time so that you could watch the movie. But
Kind of like renting a movie on Amazon.
Kind
now,
of. It
or-
was-
The movie started at a specific time, though. It wasn't, it starts at 8. You can't
That's
order
true.
at 8:30 and it's going to start beginning.
Exactly.
It's going to start
You'd have to
at
wait
8.
until 10 then and watch
That's
the
a good
10
point.
o'clock
Exactly.
showing,
Yeah.
and then, you'd lose access to the channel after the movie was over. So with the Hotbox, you would just have a movie running over and over again. So like First Kid with Sinbad was on 12 times in a day, and I could just watch it over and over, and I did.
Of course.
There are several dozen movies that I've seen
yeah.
over and over and over again
Yeah.
because they were
Well,
on
First Kid's
pay-per-view like
very
that.
multi-layered. You have to watch
It
at
is.
least 8-9 times before you really start picking up the
secret, the
subtleties.
Illuminati references that
Yeah.
Sinbad was dropping throughout that film.
Exactly.
Very good. Look it up on YouTube.
And that twist is Zachary Ty Bryan at the end. I mean,
It
who
was-
saw
Oh,
that coming?
right.
Nobody.
I certainly
Nobody.
didn't. I certainly did.
It was amazing. And when it turned out that Sinbad was the first kid and he got adopted by the president, it touched my heart.
I like to see where the who played the bad guy in First Kid.
I want to say it was Miguel Ferrer, but I think I'm confusing that with Blank Check.
With every other movie ever.
Yeah, right.
Well, I like to see where you think he's like got a limp the whole time and he starts walking out.
Yeah,
and
right,
so he doesn't have a limp.
Yep. Pretty great. But so many movies that I watched. Chris, was that your experience too? Just watching stuff over and over again like that?
I mean, I want to go back. I remember first
Okay,
getting
sure.
it. First movie I ever saw. I remember my parents brought it in and we watched Ghostbusters 2 on pay-per-view.
Nice.
Which I figure
Awesome.
when it came out, it was probably exactly 1990.
It came out in '89, but
came
that's
out in 89.
funny. I literally just watched that last night with my girlfriend because she wanted to watch the first Ghostbusters, and then after I watched it, I was like, "We got to watch the second one now." Of
course,
and
yeah.
she said, "I don't want to watch that. I watched it all the time as a kid because it was always on HBO." And
It was.
and I was just like, "That's a terrible excuse. I've probably still seen it more times than you, and I'm going to watch it."
Yeah, that's definitely true. Ghostbusters 2 was on all the time when we were lads.
Yeah.
Because it was, it came out in 89, so like 92, 93 when I was watching the bulk of television that I've ever watched in my life, I was watching Ghostbusters 2 over and over again.
I only watched it on my 2 VHS, Ghostbusters 2, which had the pan and scan. And that's literally how I still have the movie. Like, I get jolted when I
Interesting.
watch it now on DVD, and I'm like, why aren't they panning over to Egon?
Now
My
Egon says
girlfriend
something.
got very upset with me because I was literally reciting both movies. I haven't seen either of those movies in 10. It's amazing.
Really?
how-
That long?
Well, it's amazing how there's movies I watched over and over and over as a kid.
Yep.
Even as a teenager, we would watch them, and it was just, and then like when you become an adult, when you're working a full-time job, you just really don't have time.
You
for
don't
that
have
shit.
time, yeah.
Plus, on top of that, the fact that I'm sure it's not just an adult thing. It's also that now you're streaming and you have much more options. You're not repeat
Right.
viewing.
There's so many movies.
Yeah.
There's so much TV. There's so much to watch. You don't really go back and rewatch
So there's
things
movies
too much.
like Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters and Star Wars where I've literally had them memorized, and then I realized, well, when's the last time I watched this? It was
Yeah.
over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I
and
definitely rewatched both
yeah.
of them a couple of years ago.
And it was exciting. It was kind of exciting to me that like I still knew what the next line was going to be. I was like, wow, it's really still burned in there. And I had to talk along with the movie.
Of course. Well, better late than never.
And I guess I thought I was showing off to my girlfriend, but she was not. She's like, this isn't Rocky Horror. Stop.
My wife also hates that. Like, if we watch Clue, especially, I can
Yeah.
recite Clue from the beginning to
Yeah.
the end of the film. I have to be
To the
I
ends
have
of
to
the
like
film.
to the ends of the film. Correct. I have to be quiet. Like, otherwise, it's just like I never mind about the key. Unlock the door. I can't unlock the door without the key.
We gotta start watching movies together again, so we can just
Yeah.
recite them together.
Let's not even watch the movie. Let's just
Just
recite a
the
movie right
Yeah.
now.
5 years later,
Yeah.
Dana is Barrett's
That's- yep.
walking the carriage down.
My baby,
Ghostbusters!
He-Man,
He is Vigo!
a child.
I don't know if there's enough goodwill in this stinking city.
She's a French chick. She's from the harbor.
Well, better late than never.
Damn it, that was what I was about to say.
Come on, Chris, you gotta be quicker on the
I
draw.
know, man. I haven't seen that movie now, and it probably is 10 years, and
Yeah.
I can't think of a single line. But if it was on, I think I could do
I
a
think
couple.
it's one of the Fettuccine
Absolutely.
brothers. The end.
Ends with Cheech Marin.
Ghostbusters!
Run DMC version.
Stop! Huh. Hit it! Bridge!
So everyone has now paused this podcast and they're watching Ghostbusters
Yeah, and
2.
I got mad at my girlfriend yesterday because
Yeah.
after she got mad at me for quoting, I got mad when the Run DMC version of Ghostbusters started playing, and she's like, "This is dumb," and I went, "No, this is the better version."
Oh boy.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
We were talking about cable, and you said you remember when you lost it.
Yeah, I mean, God, going back, I remember there was times too. The cable convention. I mean, you know how long it took for them to actually. I don't know. They had to have known, but
I think it was a not so well kept secret.
yeah, I don't know. And they switched over to I think it was the digital box, which was,
That was definitely what killed the hot
yeah.
box.
And you need that if you had there was a digital hot box too. If you had that, you got the Spice Network, which I never had with my box, which was kind of a letdown. But
I did have the Spice Network and also the Playboy channel.
I had Playboy.
It was,
Yeah.
not
I
so
think
bad.
I had those in my original hotbox when I was young. I think I remember like again, I was very little, so I have very vague memories, and I was not interested in porn yet.
Sure.
But I do kind of remember like the logos and the the interstitials and the promos. So I must have, while channel surfing, come across them.
You only wanted to watch the interstitials in the promos.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But
don't want to watch these movies.
oh, where's the clothes?
Hugh Hefner's here. Oh boy.
Breasts are only useful when they have milk in them.
Which is
by the way, I was Mickey Mouse. I was like, oh boy.
and Mickey Mouse has that belief, so that makes sense.
He loves mini such mini movies.
Oh boy.
No, I do kind of remember
Milk in the
seeing
Mini.
those channels. And
Yeah.
I certainly never saw them ever again because the closest I came was doing the whole scrambled.
Right. Is that a boob? Is that
Yeah,
whose
exactly.
nipple is that? Is that a man's? I don't care. I'm going to masturbate anyway.
Yeah, no. And then I just, no. Thank God for the internet.
Yeah. Then the internet came along and made all
And
of this
ruined
irrelevant.
sex for all of us.
Yeah, it kind of did, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I also remember losing it when digital cable became a thing in like the late 90s. And I remember just going back to wrestling and watching pay-per-views. Royal Rumble, my favorite pay-per-view.
Oh, mine too.
And I definitely remember watching so many Royal Rumbles as a kid, like in the early 90s when we had the hot box and we had people over. And I remember Royal Rumble 2000, I wanted to order it, and I asked my parents, like, can we order it just for me? And they were like, it's okay. I think it was like 40 or 50 bucks. Like, those things are expensive.
a lot,
It's
yeah.
a lot of money. Now they got the WW Network, $9.99 a month. Well worth it. They haven't paid me to say that. But I remember ordering...
Well, they should.
They really should. Oh, damn
They
it.
say it enough.
Triple H, pay me some money.
Yeah, Ghostbusters 2. Where's my royalty
Yeah,
check?
give us... Ivan Reitman's going to call us up. We've been talking about him a lot lately.
Yeah. give my script another chance.
Yeah, really. Does it need more nuke? I don't know. Anyway, I ordered the 2000 Royal Rumble. And I remember this well. We ordered it, and this is not a... I don't know why I'm telling this story, because it's not a happy
It's
story.
90s percentile. This is what we do.
Like, half an hour into the Royal Rumble, my grandmother died.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, this was my mom's mom who had dementia and had been in a nursing home for the bulk of my life. And I just remember, like, I continued watching Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, we paid for it, and my parents were like, no, it's okay. Just,
I
watch.
always have that fear when especially when I'm spending a lot of money on tickets well in advance for like a Broadway show or something.
Sure.
But even when there's like a party on Friday night and I don't go out very much.
Yeah.
And like it's a party with friends I really like and I'm like really looking forward to it. I'm
Right.
always worried like somebody's going to die and ruin those plans.
Yeah, you never know.
Because you never know.
You
I mean,
never know.
it's
like
gotten
the lotto.
easier now that like my grandmother passed away a couple months ago. It's kind of gotten easier as they all have died off because
Sure.
now there's less likely. Although now our parents are getting
Well,
to that
that's
age.
what I was going to say.
You could too.
Now we're getting really dark.
After
But yes.
I watched Dad salt that sausage and peppers, I'm worried about. I want to buy tickets for that new Broadway show with John Slattery.
Sure.
Dad might have a heart attack. I don't know.
You never know.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
I guess I'll do what you did and just go.
I mean, I was 15 years old, and I don't know.
I went to meet Joel Hodgkins the day after my grandma died. I mean, I had tickets.
Well, you gotta
already.
meet Joel
Yeah,
Hodgkins.
I mean, exactly. I went to Chiller Theater. I met Joel and Chuck Zito. I think that was it. And
Yeah.
my grandma was just died, but I had tickets already.
If you
Yeah.
had the tickets, you got to do it.
Nothing else I could have done.
I remember the moment I found out my other grandmother died. I was in the middle of a team deathmatch on Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and I was it was sort of coming, but it was still kind of a shock.
Yeah.
But I finished the match because it was like, well, what am I gonna like? What do you do? Just turn
can't-
the game off and just sit there and process it, which is what you do, but you don't. Processing it isn't really actively processing. You don't just go,
Right.
huh?
You don't just sit there
I'm sad.
and like reorganize files in your brain and be like, I have to process this.
Yeah.
Like, what does grief mean to me?
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
awkward.
People react different ways. I watch the Royal Rumble now whenever anyone dies. It's just ingrained in me. I have to go back and watch that one.
It's like it's also like now that like more big tragedies are happening. When they were rarer, you would stop. All right, we're going to cancel this in lieu of that mass shooting and such.
Sure, yeah.
Now it's happening. It's funny how you watch certain TV shows or right now the campaigns, like pick and choose what they're going. Like, well, that really sucked, but we rented this hall. We're gonna do it.
Right. We're still gonna do it.
We still got to do this.
So you're saying that mass shootings have just become part of our lives now, and it's just something we have to deal with.
I think so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree with you.
It's overpopulated. We gotta just
Oh boy, nope.
That's why they happen.
The views of Jack do not.
No, I'm kidding. Of course, they're all faked with crisis
Nope.
actors.
Oh boy. Try again.
All right. They're all very sad events, and I hope that we can move through this as a human race.
There you go. That makes sense.
Well, just the white people.
Oh no.
No.
Let's maybe
I'm
bleep
sorry.
that. I don't even know. I don't even know if we as a joke we want that
I think
out
if
there.
I bleep that, it would sound a million times worse.
You know what? You're right. Yeah.
So I want to go back to you guys mentioned the digital box. I never
Yes.
really thought about it that way.
Sure.
But so I don't have much to say about the hot box, but I do remember how radical it was in the mid 90s when all of a sudden the TV started telling you what show you were watching or even what channel you were watching.
Game changer.
Yeah, and was that because the boxes had started becoming digital? Was
Yes.
that a digital thing?
Yeah.
Now, I want to explain to people just slightly younger than us, because we were pretty young when this happened. It was like watching TV.
completely different.
It was like the Wild West watching TV before that started. I want to say like 94, 95.
Yeah.
Where you literally
Well, no,
would turn
probably
the
even later,
TV
like
on
97.
and you have no idea what you're watching except for context. You have to figure it out. You
Right.
could maybe.
Sometimes
if
you didn't even know what channel
Yeah.
you were on.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with the hot box and the
Yeah.
crazy
If
numbers.
you
Like
would-
you would just watch it
Yeah.
until you could figure out, oh, this is this, and I don't want to watch this, and
I mean,
then you move
could
on to
put
the
on
next
like
channel.
the prototypes to the TV Guide channel where it would scroll very slowly through the list, or check
Yeah.
the newspaper
Or TV Guide.
Yeah, or TV Guide. But most times you're too lazy.
You're too lazy,
do
of
that.
course.
It
That's
really
why you're watching
was-
TV.
That Game Changer is the perfect to know.
Yeah, oh, really, it was.
What was on and what channel. Do you remember that moment?
I remember when it went from that. It was the slideshow first. We had Channel 14 on Long Island Cable, which I don't know what you guys both from Staten Island. I don't know what you guys had, but
Yeah, I
it's
think it
Channel
was like channel 79 or channel 80 or something.
It moved around. It was
it would
40.
scroll
It
the
was
channels.
40.
Yeah.
It was 79. Yeah.
Sure.
Ours was 14. It went from slideshow and then it went to the scrolling one. I remember seeing the scrolling one because they had that in Arizona. I went to visit my grandparents. They always had that. I thought it was the
scrolling.
coolest thing.
Scrolling
Yeah.
looks like the newspaper TV listing scrolling from top to
And
bottom.
it would show you all the times at once instead of just one time. What was going on
slideshow?
now?
I don't understand what you mean by slideshow.
It was almost, it would show, it would try to say a picture. It would say, on at 8 o'clock and list 5 channels and say what was on. And then it would go,
Oh, and then it would
the
go to the
next
next one.
5 channels.
Gotcha.
And the next 5
Which
channels.
one's worse?
Oh, the slideshow was awful. Because if you turned it on and you just missed the channel that you were looking for, what am I watching? You missed it. And you had to
Yeah,
go through
you
and it would
gotta
show 8:30 and then 9 o'clock and then go back to 8
Oh,
o'clock.
okay.
That does really suck.
was
I
brutal.
felt the same way with the scrolling, but it was obviously waiting less. But if you had just missed your channel, say channel 20,
Right.
now you're watching 21 through 25 as scrolling. Not only did you just miss it, you have to wait 5 minutes for it to come back, and then you get bored and you get distracted, and you're like, "Oh, let me play with my action figures."
Right, and then
look
you're
up-
like, "Oh, no,
you
21
look up and-
again."
yeah, exactly. And
Yep,
you know-
that happened to me all the time. All of the time.
You kids don't know how easy it is.
You really don't. And I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I watched so much television
I
back
think
in the day.
I watched so much of the preview TV Guide channel.
I did too.
Yeah.
Like when you didn't like a lot of the times, I don't do this so much anymore. Just put the TV on, like just have
Yeah,
like background noise or whatever. Yeah, I would put on the TV Guide channel or whatever it used
Yeah.
to be called,
Preview,
and just like
PREVUE.
leave that on while I'm playing with my toys or doing whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then like if I happen to look up and be like, oh, Charles in Charge is on, I'm gonna watch Charles in Charge, and I'd put it on channel 9 and watch Charles in Charge. But like without the internet, before the internet, everyone just watched TV like all the time.
That was it.
Like I've seen so many things that weren't good, and I just watched them because they were on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like-
no, I mean, because there was nothing else to do.
There's nothing else to
actively, at
do,
least,
yeah.
If you're too tired, and I can totally see adults doing it now because when you're a kid, you go, you play, whatever. But now, when you come home from a day of work and you're just literally brain dead and you can't do anything but be passive.
But here's the thing: like, do you just sit and watch TV? Because I feel like that's pretty rare. A lot of
No.
people nowadays, they're on the computer while they're on watching television.
Oh no, yeah, you mean multitasking?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's not. You don't just sit and watch TV.
There's no channel
anymore.
surfing anymore.
There's definitely no channel
No.
surfing.
Which sucks because I still own Channel Surfing, the board game, and it's one of my
useless now.
favorite. It was useless when I got it when we used to play at your house because
Yeah.
digital cables and DVRs, it took longer to change the channel. It would
Yeah,
take
there
like
would
3
be like a
seconds
second.
to load.
Yeah, a second or two of blackness.
Channel Surfing, by the way, is a great game where you had a bunch of cards with nouns. It would be like
Yeah,
a
it was a
clown,
fun game.
a clown, a convertible, and everybody would take a turn, and you had like 60 seconds to find as many of these cards as you can. And it was, how well do you know TV? So like if it was like Mohawk, I would go, oh, I know to go to MTV right away.
Sure.
If it's Monster, you go to the horror state.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I've
it was
never
a
heard
fun
of this
game.
one before.
Yeah.
And I lost it, and I bought a new one. I think it's still somewhere in shrink wrap because I was like, I missed that game. I have to rebuy it. I rebought it, but I can't play it.
I mean,
Yeah,
you could
it's-
probably just make it yourself now at this point. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
sound too involved. but
Probably, but it's tough to play. I mean, we don't even have cable anymore.
Google image
but-
search the game. That's
Yeah.
that's a new one.
I do have trouble focusing and not multitasking. What about you, Chris? Do you have to have like a tablet or a phone in your hand while you're
I
watching
do.
TV?
I try not to. Like, I realize maybe within the past month, and it's just constantly in my hand, and I'm looking at it, I'm playing a game, and the games aren't fun. Like, it's not like they're not great video games, but you sit there and you play them. Like, this is just I'm doing this game. Oh, I ran out of lives. Download this one. Download this.
Right. So
I
things
look at
like Candy Crush or something. Like
Yeah,
I
games
see
like
people
that.
on the train just like completely mindlessly playing Candy Crush.
It's a way to pass time, and unless
Right.
I actually tell myself, Chris, you have to stop doing this, I will just keep on doing it.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
really
yeah.
should. Like, hey, go do the crossword puzzle. Go do this. Go read a book. And like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that more and more.
Sure.
Because the time just flies by. Like, oh wow, I did nothing this week but play on my phone when I get home from work, and it's terrible.
That's one of the reasons that I quit video games a few years ago, for the most part. Don't play them anymore. And I have made a conscious effort now when like my wife and I are watching TV, I try to put everything down and she'll put everything down. And, like we're watching TV.
I get mad if somebody I'm watching TV with is looking at their phone, even
Yeah.
though I will do it too.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you just missed that joke. You just missed that line. You know?
The same thing
But
happens to me.
even though if I get a notification or something, because I do try not to do it, but
Right.
I get one, every once in a while I find myself
You get pulled
grabbing it
in.
and looking
Yeah.
at it. There's a great app actually that I used for about a week before I stopped because that's what I do, called Forest.
I thought you were going to say farts. and I was like, I'm downloading the farts app.
It's a productivity app. I was trying to use it for my writing, or for reading. But you plant a seed. And it will grow into a tree. You set how long it would take. So 30 minutes.
heard of
and
this.
if you
Okay.
touch your phone or you lift it up or you look at something, the tree dies.
Yes,
so
I've heard of
basically,
this.
it's like a visual incentive to not touch your phone for a half hour, and then you build a forest. If you can keep doing this, you build multiple trees, and it keeps a record every day of how big your forest was.
Sure.
But they're all dead. They're all dead.
I deleted that. I needed space for something else.
Exactly. But I mean, this isn't proven yet, but the general theory is, and it seems to be right, is scientifically it's got to do with the way your brain processes information and the serotonin boost. And because it's so much quicker to just look at a headline, look at this on your phone, the brain's become trained to do that. So now if you're sitting and watching TV, you're literally not bringing in information fast enough for your brain to be satisfied.
Right. You need the quick hits of serotonin, like you just said. Like,
it sucks.
we need stimulation all
and
the time
I
now.
don't know what to do because I've been, for the last 3-4 years, basically since I got an iPod Touch and now an iPhone, but when I noticed this happening, I've been trying to retrain my brain. I'm a big reader, and I can't sit and read anymore. And I'm trying to go, okay, I put my Forest app on. I'm going to read for an hour, and then it was a half hour. Now it's 15 minutes. And I'm just going to read and only do read and focus on reading and try to. You can retrain your brain to go, this is the acceptable amount of serotonin you need for satisfaction.
Right.
And I'm having trouble doing it, first of all. But I don't know, am I right to be doing it? Should I be trying to retrain my brain, or is that antiquity? Should I be like, no, this is, I got to keep up with everybody else?
I think that you should, because of the reason that Chris brought up before of how you're just sitting there playing games and all of a sudden you're just like, holy shit, like 5 hours just went past. And it's like, do you want to live your life just playing these games?
And I agree, but what if I'm now in the minority of people receiving information that way, and because the rest of the world is not bothering to do that, and now
So
I'm
you think you're going to
off-
miss out on information?
Not
Is that what you're
miss
saying?
out, but I'll just be out of sync with everybody because, eventually TV and movies and advertising and all this stuff is going to be made for people whose brains work that way. And if my brain's not working that way anymore, I still got a good 30, 40 years on this planet.
I think you're just describing getting old.
That's what it sounds. But I mean, they talk about, you go to a bar now and there's an argument about, who was in this show, who was in this movie, which guy did this in sport, and you don't have to actually look for, you don't have to think of it anymore. You just look it up.
Yeah, right.
It's instant.
There's no bar bets. Like, I bet you it was, like, you can just look it up right away.
Yeah. The person gets it right, they were cheating because they looked at their phone already.
Exactly. But I think just going back to what Jack was saying about kind of retraining your brain, there is definitely a big push for like mindfulness and meditation and things. I try to meditate. I don't do it so well.
I keep
so
meaning to talk
consistently.
to you about that off air because I know you do try that, and I've been trying for a year now for mindfulness, and I just can't do it. I just finally tried this meditation app I downloaded like months ago. From
Yeah.
this,
Which
this,
one?
Headspace.
I've tried Headspace.
Yeah, and I've been finding a little bit of progress with it, but I have so much trouble stopping my brain, and I know that's the point. And the one thing that finally was like, all right, I'm going to recommit to this, because I wrote it off. I was like, I can't do it. My brain's. I mean, people listen to the show. My brain is wired.
You're wired a little bit differently.
The whole point of mindfulness is for you to let your thoughts go by, and it's very hard for me because they're coming a mile a minute.
Well,
but
the
one thing the reason I'm recommitting it, the one thing I read, or I think I read it, that was like, oh, maybe I'll give this another shot. Is it's not supposed to feel like it's working for a good couple of months before you go, and it's very gradual. I do feel better.
Meditation essentially is like exercise for your brain. It's like a muscle. You're just strengthening it to be able to focus for longer and longer, so that you kind of move away from this ADD kind of society that we have. And if anyone's really interested in it, there's a phenomenal book called 10% Happier by Dan Harris.
Yeah, that's the book you were telling me about.
Yeah, he's a newscaster for ABC. I think he's on Good Morning America. He was doing a lot of drugs and had a panic attack live on the air, and then in a way to kind of find out what is wrong with him, he ended up doing meditation and wrote a whole book about his experience with meditation and how, it doesn't have to be this woo-woo thing. That's his phrasing, not mine.
Yeah.
It's just something, it is like exercise for your mind. Like, I go to the gym, I try to meditate. They're both two sides of the same coin. I recommend. It's a good book.
I just have trouble doing it. Have you ever given it a shot, Chris? Meditation?
Once in college, my roommate had downloaded, I guess it was that thing, that guided sleep thing.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
And I remember the next day, I'm like, dude, that was just not, I'm like, I'm listening to it, I'm like, it just didn't do anything. He was like, you were sleeping within 2 minutes and snoring. And he goes, I had to lay there and I couldn't concentrate because all you were doing was snoring. Kept on yelling at you and yelling at you.
So it really worked.
It worked well. And I'm like, oh, can we do it again? And he goes, no, I had to fall asleep before you.
That's awesome.
The reason this week I was like reading up on meditation again, and I'm trying to give it another shot, was because I was segued from that on Reddit from hypnosis threads, because I was trying. I don't know where it popped in my head, but I was like, I should give hypnosis a try. I'm trying to basically. I'm a writer and I can't write anymore. I'm just not productive at all.
Right.
And I was like, maybe I could just hypnotize myself the way people hypnotize themselves to quit
smoking. That is a
and
thing.
stuff.
Self-hypnosis is a thing.
Well, not even self-hypnosis.
For what though? Like, what are you trying to hit? Like, you trying to quit something? Or
I want to be able to actually sit down and write again. I can't or do anything again.
It seems like you want to bring yourself into kind of a trance state where you can unifocus on one thing.
Well, not even bring my trance. It's not that I want to be in a trance so I can start writing. I want to go to a hypnotist and be like, you're getting sleepy. You're getting sleepy. From now on, you will write an hour a day. Like, that's what I want. And
I don't think that actually exists.
I don't think that happens.
But I was looking it up, and I was looking up videos of like the entertainment hypnotists who go around to like colleges.
Right.
And they go, from now on, you forget the number 7.
Okay.
And I was, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know what
Are
you're
those
talking
real? What is that?
So I've never been hypnotized by a stage magician
Me neither.
hypnotist
I
type
kinda
thing.
wanna try it.
My understanding is, the kind of people, I'm not an expert on this by any means, but that never stops us from talking about things
of course
before. The people who kind of raise their hand and volunteer, they want to be willing participants. So on some level, they're just playing along.
I get that. And I was reading about this on Reddit and people who had done it, and they described the feeling of doing it.
Right.
And I get that, like, look, I have an improv background. I could see myself, if somebody goes, you're a chicken, I could see myself being a chicken.
You're in a safe space where you can act like a chicken and it's funny.
But there's got to be a difference between me going, it's okay for me to act like a chicken in front of all these people, and completely becoming a chicken without any conscious control.
Right. I don't know if that ever happens. As someone who's never been hypnotized, I can't speak to it.
Watching these YouTube videos, they don't seem like I get that they're subconsciously probably in on it, but they totally seem like they're a different person. They're a chicken.
Right. Wouldn't that person know who could actually do that to people either be eventually a psychopath and make people do whatever he wants? True. Or like be worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, because that would be a crazy
He'd be like
thing.
David Tennant in January Jones. There's a wee.
Do you mean Jessica Jones?
What did I say?
You said January Jones.
I'm like, I don't know what he means.
What?
Well, good for him if he was in January Jones.
Exactly. That's the power of persuasion.
No, Jessica Jones. Wee Britain, Little Britain. What was it called?
Little Britain.
Wee Britain is from Arrested
Wee
Development.
Britain's from Arrested Development.
Little Britain had a running
relation to Wee
sketch
Studios.
where Matt, who is his name? Matt, he played Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
Yes, I can't think of his name.
Anyway, he played a hypnotist.
I know you're talking. The guy from
he was in Bridesmaids.
Yeah,
and
there was a very funny. He did some sketches like he backed up into somebody in a parking lot and he goes, "Look into my eyes, look into my eyes." You forgot that you. I never hit your car. And then like somebody goes, "Hey, I see what you're doing." So then he had to hypnotize that guy. He's like, "You didn't see anything." And eventually, it keeps cutting back to the sketch throughout the episode. And eventually, the entire parking parking lot. He's got like 45 people. And he's like out of breath, like trying.
All right,
to
that's
keep
pretty
it.
good.
Yeah, but
I
I
like
guess
that.
I guess that doesn't exist. That's a superpower.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean that's Kilgrave from Jessica Jones,
Exactly.
who was a monster and a psychopath. So you've
Although
proven
it's also
Chris's point.
Professor X, who was a decent guy.
Was he?
No, he was
That
a
was a
monster.
hypnotist, though. It was just mind control.
The character was a decent guy. He just seemed like a horrible monster because Patrick Stewart was playing him, and Patrick
Right,
Stewart
and
is
Patrick
so
Stewart is just
unlikable.
so unlikable.
Especially in that wheelchair. I mean,
Oh God.
Why don't you walk?
Team Magneto, am I right? By any means necessary. So that's a legal cable.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, no, I just.
My experience in a nutshell, right there.
I mean, obviously, I'm just looking for a quick, easy fix, and that's why I was trying
course.
hypnosis. But it got
You're
me
like a damn
asking
drug
questions like, in the gray areas. Does it work? Could it work?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think going to a hypnotist like is a little bit different from like a stage hypnotist. I
Right,
think
right.
you have more luck with that, but that's more like if you want to quit smoking, not I want to magically spend 1 hour a day writing.
Yeah.
They'll just probably tell you to write for an hour a day and
Right.
push yourself.
Yeah, I guess that's no fun.
Just do it.
It's
Just
hard.
do it, Jack. It's the slogan for rapists and also for Nike. Just do it. Do you know where the "Just Do It" slogan comes from? By the way, just a quick aside.
The slogan or the check?
Like the guy who came up with "Just Do It" for Nike, like where he was inspired to get it from.
No idea.
There was I want to say murderer, who was on death row, and they said, "Do you have any last words?" And he said, "Just do it."
Oh,
Yeah, so think about that every time that you wear a Nike product.
Do they include that on a Nike tour when you go to
No,
the
I'm pretty sure
headquarters?
Nike does not want people to know that. So there you go.
terrible.
But Google it. I think it's true. I don't think I just made it up, but maybe I did.
just do it as in just kill me.
Yeah.
Bleh.
As in just pull the switch.
Nike executive was present for that execution. Oh, I'm going to use that one.
He's like, something there.
And Coke, just for the feel of it, was actually a pedophile.
Yeah,
Bill Cosby came up with that one. Allegedly.
You see when you're having the Coke. All right. Anyway,
Do we have anything else to say about hot boxes?
I think that's it. We could talk about the pornographic aspects, but I don't know that I want
have
to.
one quick story about when you talk about pay-per-view.
Sure.
I remember the very first time we did pay-per-view because it just wasn't something we did, and I was like, I'm a huge Lethal Weapon fan. Huge. And Lethal Weapon 4 had come out. I didn't get to see it in the theater for whatever reason. And we saw it on pay-per-view, and I begged my mom. I was like, Mom, can we please watch Lethal Weapon 4? I'm dying to see it.
Sure.
And she
Gotta
goes,
see Joe Pesci.
And she's a big Lethal Weapon fan, too. So she goes, okay, let's try this pay-per-view out. And I forget like if we had to do it through a menu or if we
Right,
had,
that's
I think we
probably
had to call
digital
an
cable by
800
then.
I think we might have had to call an 800 number.
Uh-huh.
I forget. Anyway, we do it. We're watching... and there's action in the first couple scenes, and then there's like some few lines of dialogue, and they're in Spanish, and we're like, okay, this is weird. And then it takes about 10 minutes into the movie. We're like, I don't think this is supposed to be in Spanish. And me and my sister just start crying. Well, I start crying, and then my sister is like upset because I'm upset, and I'm just like,
Sure.
I just want to watch Lethal Weapon 4. And I still remember.
You're a
So my
sensitive young man.
mom's like panicking. She's on the 800 help. She's like, I don't know why it's in Spanish. Can you please help? Can you please help? And
Yeah.
then we restart it. It happens again. Like we couldn't get it to work, and my mom's freaking out on the phone. I'm like literally watching. I'm like, no. And I remember it's the second scene in the movie. It's Joe Pesci, Danny Glover, and Mel Gibson on a boat fighting a shark. Oh God! It's all in Spanish. And I just remember my mom's like, we're never doing pay-per-view again. It was such a horrible experience.
So there you go, Time Warner. You turned off one viewer for life. Wow.
I'm guessing we just, because we had never done digital cable before, or we had, for whatever reason, the SAP controls on.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the SAP stand
It's
for?
I don't know. Something
Wait,
about
was it- what
Spanish.
was-
Something, it's probably Espanol. It's probably a Spanish acronym.
Yeah.
Spanish.
Simpsons used to
I
use
think
it,
it's
I
just
remember that.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it's probably just Spanish audio
Yeah,
programming.
and we just had that track on default and didn't know how to change it. Yeah.
right. Oh well.
Yeah.
I think that's it for illegal cable. So thanks for that suggestion,
great
Chris.
topic.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
But we do have 22 minutes and 44 seconds still on the clock.
So let's just put the air on.
So
and-
let's just sit here and enjoy it. Dead air,
All right.
but cold
We're
air.
gonna give you guys.
We really are going to put the air
We're gonna
on.
put the
All
air
right,
on
that's
just
fine with me.
for 30 seconds. Sorry, the audio quality is gonna be a little rough. You're gonna hear the hum in the background.
We need it, though. I
Well,
do
we're
have a
just
lot of
gonna-
sweat.
We're just gonna sit here for 30 seconds.
It's nice.
You know what? We could just have a guided meditation right now
Yeah,
on 90s
Dan,
Percentile.
do it in Freet's voice. No, don't do it in Freet's voice. No, don't do it. In Freet's.
Freed is one of the funny voices on our Funny Voices Simpsons podcast.
Funny like, oh, that's funny. Not funny like, haha.
I'm a fan of Jack's dad on that
But
podcast.
you
He's a
agree,
good one.
hey, Jackie boy. But you agree that it's funny. You say, oh, that's funny. It's funny.
Funny like the antiquated term for mentally retarded people.
Funny, like I enjoyed that and it was hilarious. This has been your guided meditation. Frida's great, and now you've all been hypnotized into thinking Frida's great.
And the air is off. And what's our next topic?
All right. Going into the generator here. Our next topic, we got 21 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Our topic is from Daniel in Seoul. I guess he's from South Korea, so thank you for that. The topic is Clerks, the animated series.
Wow.
I'm going to say that Clerks, the animated series, came out in 2000.
Uh-oh. Just like Pepsi Blue.
I'm confirming that right now. But Clerks, the animated series, is fucking great.
Yeah, so we've talked about Kevin Smith movies, but we haven't talked about Clerks the movie yet. So let's just say, as part of the 1990s movie Clerks discussion, we can allow...
It premiered in May 31st of 2000.
I think we can allow this.
But we're going to grandfather it
Wait,
in?
he's from Korea, though. It might have been in 99.
You know, it could maybe it came out earlier. They certainly animated it in Korea.
The international dateline, it might have still been 1999.
Yeah,
6
we
months
don't
ahead.
We don't know how time works, so nobody does.
It's a flat circle.
It's a flat circle. But let's talk about Clerks, the animated series. If you don't know what it is, it's based on the Kevin Smith film from '94 called Clerks. And it was a cartoon. It was on ABC. They only made 6 episodes, and I think only 2 of them aired before the show got canceled. But they put it out on DVD, and it kind of picked up a little bit of a following with Kevin Smith's fans.
I want to pick up that thread real quick.
Sure.
Why do shows cancel? Why do networks cancel shows after 2 episodes, especially if you've already
They
paid
don't
for them?
anymore. Because
You know?
of that exact reason. Not
Right.
really.
'Cause it's-
Shows have a much more... they have a longer time before they get canceled
I'm guessing
nowadays.
the logic is we would make more money if we put a rerun of an existing show in this time slot.
You are correct.
But I get that, but don't you want to gamble a little bit and go, maybe if we play all 6 episodes, it will gain a big enough following?
I think it depends how expensive the show is to make and whether or not, if it was a Chuck Lorre show, they'll probably give it more time because he's got a proven track
But
record.
the episodes were already made.
Right, but they also aired them out of order, which was a bit of a problem because...
Don't do that either.
They aired a clip show, was the first episode. I think we talked about it when we talked about Kevin
Clips
Smith.
that never actually happened. It was
Right,
great.
so there was a first episode of the series, and then the second episode was a clip show that flashed back to the first one, and it was really, really funny. But if you didn't see the first episode, you completely missed all of those jokes. It just seems weird.
Really poor management.
Yeah. I agree with you, but TV is a dying industry now, so it's whatever.
I mean,
It is what it
it's
is.
animated, though. I mean, and also, if they did a 6-episode run, they
Yeah.
were all done already. So I don't know.
True.
And I'm sure they didn't start it. It wasn't a September show. You said it was May.
It came out in May, so it's a summer
They
fill-in
canceled
show.
it in June.
You're right.
What was running at that time that they could run over Clerks? That's just, I don't get that.
If I had to guess, at that time, some kind of game show or like a reality
yeah,
show.
probably Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah, exactly.
Thursday edition.
And even in 2000, if you want to say, okay, I get it because you would have made more money if you put something else in there. What I really didn't get was when they were doing this to shows in the last, let's say, 4 or 5 years, where they cancel a show and then they burn off the episodes.
Right.
And I can see that, especially now that we have DVR because you're going to catch them all.
Sure.
But I don't.
I mean, they did that to Arrested Development.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes they don't burn them off. Sometimes they literally just never air them.
That
And
happened with Andy Richter Controls the
And
Universe.
here's what I don't understand. Maybe regular TV. It's probably too late for regular TV. But what they should have been doing 5 years ago is you could start using bad time slots because now that you have DVR, there's no such thing as a bad time slot. You could start airing shit at 3 a.m. because I'm not watching that show live anyway. I'm watching it the next day on DVR.
Right.
So you're telling me that the really low amount of money you're getting for this shitty ShamWow infomercial at 3 a.m. is going to make less than I mean I get the DVR percentage is much lower than live TV still to this day.
There's so many things I want to say about what you've just said. First of all, I would argue that things like Adult Swim are doing that, where they'll air things at like 12, 1 in the morning.
And the model's working for them.
like Too Many Cooks, which blew up on the internet a couple of years ago. That was just aired randomly at like 3 in the morning.
And they're one of the most successful brands on TV.
It is. There's a very, very loyal cult following for Adult Swim. I think part of the problem, at least for network television, they don't have the capacity to run things at 3 in the morning.
It's a franchise.
Because there's franchising. That's when like syndicated programming would be on, which would be your local network, not the national network.
affiliates, not franchise.
Affiliates, yes. And things like infomercials, that's just found money. That's just
They're paying to be on the air.
You know how much money you're going to get from that, so you don't have to roll the dice.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that you could take a lot more chances with things, and DVR has changed a lot. But the other thing is DVR, people fast forward through the commercials. So how do you get around that?
That's true too. I guess even if you're getting 10% of the audience, which through DVR, I guess it's that 10% you don't really want.
Right, exactly. We don't want those people. Anyway, let's talk about Clerks, the animated series. Just going back to it, we mentioned this, I think, in the Kevin Smith episode, how it was ahead of its time for recognizing the comedic potential of Alec Baldwin.
Oh, he was so good on that
He
show.
was phenomenal. He played Leonardo, who was basically a Mr. Burns type
Although
character.
I would argue the earliest known, the way people were like, wow, he's weirdly funny with the
Saturday Night
Canteen
Live.
Boy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, he was great on that show. It was almost like a forerunner of Jack Donaghy because he was a rich, powerful tycoon type person. And he was hysterical. And did you guys know that Alec Baldwin is hosting a remake of Match Game?
Oh, I hear it's incredible.
It's incredibly terrible, and I love it.
Oh, I heard it's like just straight. I mean, I'm a game show fan.
I love Match Game.
And I love Match Game, and all of Match Game revivals have been terrible.
I have watched 1.5 episodes.
Which one's Match Game? I don't even remember that one.
They
It was,
fill in the blank, and everybody has to hold up the.
And it was quite ribald.
I had never seen that.
Charles Nelson Riley was always there. You always had
Alec Baldwin played on SNL.
Yeah.
Right. Nipsey Russell laughed so hard a boob fell out.
In my game show circles of people who appreciate game shows on the level I do,
Yeah.
I've heard that it's legitimately a good show.
I like that you have to appreciate game shows on a certain level.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't get why a game show is good.
Look, man, I also watched Match Game all the time on Game Show Network because nothing else was on, and that's just what you did back in the day. So I love Match Game, and I love Old Family Feud.
Really quick, going back to our original discussion,
Sure.
I actually have started watching TV casually as opposed to what I've been doing the last 10 years, watching exactly what I want to watch.
Right.
Because I finally got an HD antenna that gives me one channel.
Yes.
And it's Buzzer, the vintage game show network.
Yes.
And now I find myself more and more just putting it on and just doing nothing and just it's not exactly channel surfing because it's one channel.
Right.
But I'm not. It's the first time in years where I'm going, let's see what's on, as opposed to I'm going to put this on.
Yeah, you know what? That's something that has really changed a lot with TV. Especially we're cord cutters. At least Jack and I are. I don't know if you are, Chris.
I am not.
You still have cable.
You still have your.
I live in the suburbs, man. I have cable.
I thought
There
you were
you
going to
go.
say he still has his cable,
Umbilical cord.
umbilical cord.
You still tied to your mother? Time Warner cable?
We're cool, you millennial cord cutters.
Yeah, cut that cord.
You guys are smarter than me. I mean, I really should cut it, but
No, I miss cable, and if I was
Sports.
making
Well, but-
more money, I would
but-
get it. I would get it again.
Here's
It's
the
easier.
thing. One sports. If you want to watch sports, you kind of need cable. I don't give a shit about sports, and Jack, you sort of do, but not so much.
No, that was actually the reason I bought the HD antenna, was so
Right,
I could
you can
watch the
watch local
Islanders
sports at
playoff games.
But the other thing that you lose is when you always are watching on-demand programming, you can never just put the TV on just to put it on. Like every time I turn on the TV, it's like, what am I going to watch? It's a decision that I have to make, and that kind of like takes a lot out of you, like willpower-wise. They say willpower, you deplete it throughout the day, and decisions like that are things that deplete it.
I spend more time cycling through my Netflix options than I did going to Blockbuster with you and spending
Yeah,
an hour
of
looking
course.
for a movie or watching the Preview TV Guide channel.
Yeah.
I spend more time because there's more options, but it's also because you really have to sit, click it, download it, hit confirm.
Right.
It's more of a commitment to actually watch
Exactly,
the show.
absolutely. I don't know how we got back to our original topic, but
Yeah,
which
but-
wasn't even our original
Clerks,
topic.
but
But
yeah,
let's talk
Clerks.
about Clerks. They brought back the cast from the original film. Dante and Randall were just
Which wasn't
watching their.
hard. They're not famous actors.
No, they're not. They're
I
just
did meet
Kevin
Brian
Smith's
O'Halloran
friends.
though at my bachelor party.
really?
Yeah,
Really?
Took a picture with him. He was a great guy, and he goes, "Who's gonna get this photo in 5 years when you get divorced?" I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Was this over 5 years ago?
No, this is working on 2.5 right now.
Okay,
so-
well, in
Does he
5
just
years,
halfway
I
there.
want you to tweet at
I'm
Brian
gonna rub it
O'Halloran.
in his face.
Suck it, motherfucker!
Does he? Never mind. That reminds me of a story of a bartender who took my ID like right before I turned 21. Like months before, and I was like, I'm about to turn 21. Doesn't make financial sense for me to buy another fake ID. Can you please give me my ID back?
Sure.
He's being a real dick about it. This could be
Yeah.
a much longer story. But anyway, he goes, look, when you turn 21, you come by, first drinks on me. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking do that despite this guy. And
Yeah.
then like the time came, and I was just like, I'm not gonna
fuck
bother.
it.
I'll go order a new ID instead.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Not get a free drink.
Chris, have you seen Clerks the animated series?
I did. I think my freshman roommate had it in college, and we watched it. Once 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's
once
pretty quick.
20. Yeah, what's it? 20-minute episode. So
Yeah.
It's pretty much like watching a Clerks movie, and I only really remember was the clip show. I remember, and then I remember the Judge Reinhold stuff, which I
Yes.
thought was absolutely hysterical.
Yes, that was a great episode, and they did it before Arrested Development
Yeah.
did it too. Which
Yeah.
It's an easy
Before
joke
its
to
time.
make.
It is.
His
It's-
name is Judge.
my name is Judge.
They did not
Judge,
have William
my
Hung
name.
though on that animated
They
series.
did not have a hung jury, which that was
The show
that
was
great.
really funny. It was really quick.
It is, and you should seek it out, even if you don't really like Clerks. I would say that all of the things that Kevin Smith has done, this one has aged the best.
Yeah. I'd argue
this holds up.
I'd argue it was one of the first, if not the first mainstream, postmodern, and the best way we can use that, comedy that was made by people like us who grew up on pop culture, and it was so self-referential and pop culture based.
Family Guy had come out already, and Family Guy arguably was that.
Yeah, Family Guy was that. Okay.
But this, I think, was better than Family Guy because, I don't love Family Guy, especially now because it's run like 13 seasons.
It also only had 6 episodes, so it's hard to...
Right. Exactly. But Family Guy would do like a pop culture cutaway, just a reference for the sake of a reference. I don't really think Clerks ever did that. I remember one specific like cutaway joke they did was to Flintstones List, where Liam Neeson played Fred, and it was like a Nazi camp.
That's Clerks?
Yeah, that was in Clerks the animated
series. That feels
series.
like a very Family Guy type of joke.
It did. Yeah.
They had a nice animated style too. It was kind of those, was it the dark outlines and all the characters?
Yeah, dark outlines,
almost
very
like a comic
angular.
book. Yeah.
Very that like 90s comic strip like Scott Pilgrim and...
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty close to that. Yeah.
No, it was it definitely.
Great
I would
design.
say as quickly as in 6 episodes, it had a better grasp of its own voice than maybe Family Guy did right away.
Yeah, and because Kevin Smith, was one of the writers, producers of the show, and obviously did the voice of Silent Bob to the extent you can voice Silent Bob, he had a lot of friends come in and do like really, really quick cameos. So there's like Ben Affleck is in an episode. He has one line, and he's like a tribal Canadian, and all he says is "Mr. Leo," and that's it.
Does he even come into the studio for that, or he just did that over the phone?
He probably did it over the phone.
Send in a cassette tape or something.
Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow was in an episode because she was friends with Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck and Kevin Smith were friends.
They were more than friends.
Well, hey now. Gwyneth Paltrow was just there, and she was just trying to return a video, and they were like giving her shit, and that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess also South Park was one of the first postmodern as well.
Oh, that's very, very true.
But I don't just mean in the pop culture referential. Clerks was so frenetic and fast paced that I guess is more what I meant was there weren't really shows
was
like
very
that.
fast-paced.
It was before Adult Swim.
Right, it was, and I think
Family Guy is not that fast.
I think the episodes have now aired on Adult Swim. The Clerks episodes.
It would
totally
feel
make
right
sense.
on there.
But they did like there was an episode that was a mashup of Bad News Bears and The Last Starfighter. You remember this one, right?
I've only seen them. I haven't seen them in 15 years.
Dante becomes a coach of a little league team and is like helping them win, and it's like Bad News Bears because they get Jay to play as the pitcher, even though he's like not at all a child. Meanwhile, Randall like beats this video game and gets taken away by the government, and then it like combines at the end and turns into an Indiana Jones Temple of Doom parody,
of course,
like for no reason. And I think that's kind of the pop culture freneticism that you were kind of talking about. Yeah, like it actually works somehow.
Yeah, they did it well. They pulled it off.
Yeah. But it's like just taking 3 things and just mishmashing them together.
I was going to say, the other thing. Did you guys ever see it was an unaired pilot for Clerks they put out? It was a live action show with Jim Brewer.
I've heard of it.
Oh, I did watch
never
it.
actually
It's on
watched
YouTube. It is god awful.
I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick.
Oh man,
just a
Jim
minute.
Brewer played Randall, I think, right?
Yeah, it was, and then they had.
It was very 90s sitcom-y. It was much more
Right.
90s sitcom than Clerk. It was also not only 90s sitcom. It was trying to get. It wasn't trying to get the Kevin Smith fans that pop culture.
no, not at all.
It was trying to get that grunge singles. What's the Ben Affleck Ben Stiller movie?
Reality Bites.
Reality Bites. It was getting that vibe.
Yeah, which is odd because when you watch Clerks the movie, it's this independent black and white movie. It doesn't scream to me A, TV series, or B, cartoon series. It's just kind of weird.
Point. Although I haven't seen Clerks 2, or is there a 3 now?
There will be a
working
3.
on it.
I haven't seen Clerks 2, but from what I gathered,
You never
from
saw
the,
Clerks 2?
I never saw that either. Yeah.
From what I gathered from the
It's not terrible.
commercials and stuff, it definitely seemed more cartoony.
Yes, it was definitely more Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back than it was Clerks 1. Okay, so we're on YouTube. We have found the unaired Clerks 95 pilot, so we're going to play this in a second.
Ever wonder why people who
That's a commercial for
I thought
it.
I muted the commercial. Apparently, I had it on mute, and then I unmuted.
But anyway, I don't really know what the rationale was to make a Clerks series. I guess it didn't go
I
anywhere.
think it's just the name. I mean, it's a basic premise. It's guys at work, and that's it. I mean,
I guess
there's nothing else to
so
it.
this was 95 is
So
when
when
this
did the
came
Clerks
out.
come out?
95, I believe.
Clerks the movie came
Or
out in 94. 94.
That was a very quick turnaround.
Yeah.
What was Mallrats? 96?
Mallrats was 95.
And now that
95.
Mallrats is going to be a TV series now.
Supposedly.
I know they're doing a
We'll
sequel
see what
too,
happens
or is
to
that what you guys are
I
talking
think
about?
that is
they
the
changed it into
Mall
a
Brats?
TV series.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, it's also
Felicity.
Yeah, Carrie Russell is
Carrie
in this
Russell.
too.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. She
Right
looks-
off the bat, this is awful.
She looks
because-
beautiful. No, the guy that plays, I guess, I don't know who he's playing.
No, they add an extra character, and it's kind of.
Oh.
I guess Jim Brewer is Randall.
Anyway, I can't remember what his name is. He was on Justified. He's a really great actor. He's in a bunch of stuff.
Walton Goggins?
Gomez? No.
Oh, I know.
Something Gomez. Rick Gomez?
I don't know.
Anyway, he's really good too. No, I just want to. If you were looking for this, all I did was Google YouTube unaired.
Unaired Clerks pilot.
So you'll find it right away. I just want to mention who uploaded it. Do you see who uploaded it?
It was uploaded by Cosmo Kramer. So thanks for that, Kramer.
It's an all-white cast. He loves it.
He's trying to recover from his gaffe.
Who's this guy? Is that that guy playing Dante?
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hey, Sandra, explain something.
Andrew Lowry.
You seem to be very health conscious, yet every day you nuke yourself in order to attain an unnatural tan.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was not good.
So they're trying to be like, hey, Dante's the intellectual one, and
Actually, maybe he was Randall and Jim Brewer was Dante,
I
or
think-
maybe it's just
I'm
completely
pretty sure-
different.
I'm
I
pretty
think I'm
Jim-
mixing up Dante and Randall.
I think they've just taken the premise of they work in a store.
yeah,
They
it's just
work in a mini
it's
mart and a video store
you know,
and just
And
talk about
and
life.
I think it's like a hot dog thing outside. I think they're in a mall. Maybe the guy
Yeah.
works at a hot dog or
there
an
was
ice
like
cream
an
store next
establishing
door.
The
shot of like
establishing shot was
a mini mall
but
type
it was
thing.
a Dutch angle. It was like that '90s, like crooked,
Yeah,
handheld, slanted.
Yeah.
No, what I learned when I took a sitcom writing course at NYU, I learned something that now that we're a little bit more postmodern, it breaks a little bit. But basically, every single sitcom ever
Yeah.
can be broken down into one of three. It's
Okay.
either a friends sitcom
Yep.
about a group of friends, a workplace about people who work together, or a family.
Yeah,
and it's
that's-
very hard to come up with sitcoms that don't fit into one of those three, or
No.
at least I mean they can fit into both, but. So this is pretty much just a workplace sitcom, but with that '90s grungy
Slacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slacker.
Like,
Yeah.
like Jim Brewer looks like if you searched grunge, that's the Google image first result.
Yeah, he's sitting on the counter with his flannel.
flannel.
Five
yeah.
women, no breasts.
I'm trying to get a good Jim Brewer line. He's
Can I
terrible.
have
in
a key to
this.
the bathroom?
Oh, don't worry about it. The door was stolen.
With all those lovely pictures on it, it was only a matter of time.
Now, is this following the plot of the movie where there's going to be a dead guy in the bathroom?
No.
That might be too much for network
I'm trying
television.
to find a Jim Brewer scene here.
God, I wish I remember this at all. I kind of blocked it out.
Oh, I guess there's no Jay and Silent Bob, so I guess that's where these extra characters are kind
Oh,
of.
you're probably
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Live, seriously, okay? Not all of us are complete write-offs like you guys.
Oh, we're going to ignore that remark because it's true.
So
Classic Brewer.
So
was
there
he
you
on
go.
SNL or is this right before?
This
I
must
guess.
have been
right
right
before. He
before,
started
yeah.
September of '95.
If I had to
Okay.
guess, because this wasn't picked up, I bet he was available to be on
Wow.
SNL.
Good move by Jim Brewer.
Yeah, definitely.
If this didn't get canceled, he would have never gone on SNL and had his amazing career that followed.
Well, he had some good moments on SNL, and Jim Brewer was an
kid.
half-baked. He's had a
He's-
okay life
he's
for
made-
himself.
He's probably made a better living than any of us ever
yeah,
will.
no, he's doing very well for himself.
He's doing pretty good.
He's no Mike
Goat boy.
Myers, is what I'm saying. He doesn't
He's
have
no
that.
Mike
He doesn't have
Myers.
that Austin Powers
Well,
money.
but he also never had a movie like The Love Guru come
They
out.
should have made Goat Boy the movie.
No, they shouldn't have.
No?
That is a premise that barely held up
That had to
over
be on the
several
list.
skits.
That had to be in the list at
I'm
one
Lord-
point.
Lord-
Lorne
sure it
thought
was.
about it. He gave it a thought.
He did. He gave it one thought, and that was it.
You went Ladies Man instead.
Ladies Man
I've never
is
seen it.
not bad. I liked it when I saw it. I've only seen it once, and it was a while ago.
I'm glad it happened, even though I've never seen it, because I was a huge Tim Meadows fan.
Love
He had
Tim
been on the
Meadows.
show since '91.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, wow, 5-6 years, that's a really long time.
Yeah,
which
right.
now I can see goes by in a heartbeat.
Right, and now
But
Daryl Hammond did,
I-
15 years?
Yeah, and I was
Kenan Thompson, yeah, he's up there too.
Keenan's up there, yeah.
Probably broken the record by now. He's been there for 13. So, although now Daryl Hammond's back. So
Is Daryl Hammond
wait,
back
what?
on SNL?
well, he's been ever since Don
Well, he's
Pardo
doing- he's-
died. He's been doing.
Oh, yeah, right,
and-
right.
And
Yeah,
he
that I
also,
know.
so now he also does sketches as well.
He's doing Trump, probably, right?
Yeah, he does Trump. He does Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
So anyway, what was I saying? What was
I don't
what
know.
was
I don't know.
saying?
SNL, Jim Brewer, Goat Boy, Clerks.
Oh, Tim Meadows.
Illegal
Yeah, I was a
Cable.
big Tim Meadows fan, and it was funny because he was on. He already had broken the record, or was up there with Kevin Nealon.
Yeah.
and he'd never had a single recurring character.
Right, and then finally,
yeah, Ladies Man finally came after he had been on the show for years.
Oh, I thought you were going to say OJ, because that was
Oh,
that's
yeah.
He did do
kinda
OJ,
what,
that's true.
The greatest thing that ever happened to Tim Meadows
that's
was O.J. Simpson murdering two
and
people.
he also played AC because they didn't have another black guy.
yeah, that's true.
I guess I didn't think
he
about
had
OJ,
that.
yeah.
What was it? Perspectives? Was that a
That
running
was
skit?
after. That was
That was
after,
after.
Yeah,
This is Lionel
per-
Osborne.
Yeah,
This is Perspectives.
yeah.
But
But
speaking of
basically,
late-night
that
programming.
was when he was with the early 90s cast, he never had anything. And
No,
it took
no,
a
no.
year or two of the new 90s cast, the Will Ferrell, Jim Brewer era,
Yep.
for him to get to Irish. So I'm
They
glad
made
he got
fun
a
of
movie.
it. They made fun of it too when it was I think
Mike
it was
Myers?
Dean Cain hosted that time. He did the Superman with the glasses
Now
on and
that's a
glasses
90s
off.
sentence. Dean Cain hosted Saturday Night Live.
And then Tim Meadows does it and he goes, "No, I still don't know who you are."
No, there's also
awesome.
Mike Myers hosted in 96.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's
I love this
maybe
moment.
my favorite monologue of all
Yep.
time. It's this musical number he does about how great it is to come back and be the host, and you
Yep.
get all these perks. And he's like going, and the entire cast has a scene in this monologue, and he's going through backstage. He's doing the musical, and the musical like stops. I don't know what the term for that is, where like the music's still kind
There's
of
a break.
playing, but it's a break.
Yeah.
And he sees Tim, and he goes, "Tim, you came to see me. That's so great to support me." And Tim's like, "No, I'm actually
Michael,
still,
I'm
on,
still
the
on the
show." And Michael's like, "Oh, well, you'll get there." And he goes off and leaves, and the camera stays on Tim Meadows, and the lights go dark, and he gets this dark solo, and he just goes, "Why did I sign a 30-year contract? That's such a long time. I see that now."
Yeah, it's so great.
because he's hosted. He's host.
For some reason, Janelle and I, Jangle, my wife, we quote that a lot.
It's
Like
a
a fair
really
amount of
funny
times.
line. Yeah, why did I sign this
30-year contract? Yeah. So Tim Meadows, you've impacted my life in that way.
Yeah, it's a really funny monologue.
Yeah, we got about 70 seconds to go. Do we have anything else we want to say about Clerks the Animated Series? It's really good. You should watch it if you've never seen it.
That was actually the DVD that made me go, I'm not going to buy any more DVDs. I remember I picked it
Really?
up at Best Buy and it was on sale for like $25.
Okay.
And I looked
I love
at
that
it
it's on sale.
and I already kind of stopped going, dying down in DVD sales. Finally, I went, I can't. I just got to stop buying them. I know everything's going digital.
Sure.
I'll be able to download it or
So
watch it on
interesting.
Netflix.
When did you buy it?
No, I didn't buy it.
Oh,
I
you
picked
didn't?
it up and I went, this is it.
Wow.
And then maybe I bought in like maybe 3 or 4
just
Blu-rays.
missed the cut.
Wow.
That was it. And I looked at it and
Because
I was,
I bought it. I ordered on Amazon the day it came out. I got it delivered. Like the DVD came out in like 2001, and it was jam packed with stuff. Like Kevin Smith loves to do
Yeah.
really, really special edition DVDs. I'll say that about him. He does that very
great
very well.
commentary
I
tracks
wonder
too.
Yeah,
if
totally.
I wonder if a lot of people are going to be in this boat. I know I am. Maybe you are.
I don't know, we might sync.
Basically, I stopped buying DVDs, but I kept going another year or two with TV shows. I was like, I'll still buy
yeah.
complete series TV shows.
Yeah.
And then eventually I stopped doing that too.
I'll buy the occasional Blu-ray, but now I need to get the digital copy because it's all digital, baby.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I do now is Bond movies because I already own the first 22. Might as well keep buying the rest.
That's right, and that is it for this episode of 90s Percentile. So we had a great discussion here today. Hope all you folks enjoyed it. But Chris, I'm going to turn to you, and I'm going to say, what have you learned today as our guest?
I think I learned that Jack watched Lethal Weapon 4 when he was probably about 12 years old and cried when it was in Spanish.
No entiendo español.
I learned that maybe that weird suicidal Russian roulette movie I watched with my dad when I was 5 may have been a Tales from the Crypt.
It might have been. The timeline would be there.
Or a scat film.
Or a
It
scat
could have been
film.
a scat film.
Either way. What did I learn today? I learned that the statute of limitations for stealing cable is over.
It's over. I asked
Chris said he looked it up.
I actually called my dad before I came on. I was in the street. I'm like, Dad, I'm going to talk about this. He goes, that's 20 years ago. I doubt I'll get in
I
trouble
think-
for
I
it.
think
now.
we're okay.
I know law, but does that mean I can
I am
start
a law.
stealing cable again because it's now legal? It's been so long since it's been illegal.
You can't. Wink.
Actually, another reason I'm watching more TV now is because I can't. I'm no longer pirating. Allegedly, if I had ever pirated movies before, I'm not doing it anymore because I got
Sure.
a very scary letter
Yeah.
where they knew exactly when I allegedly may have watched Deadpool.
Yeah, right.
You can't go for the new one. That's when you get
Yeah,
caught.
that's what you always
I
get in
got
trouble
spoiled,
for.
but-
I stopped pirating stuff a long time ago.
It's gotten too hard. They've done a very good job
Well,
of
not
taking
only-
shit off torrent.
It has gotten harder, obviously, and also there's just so many legitimate things to watch.
but you
like
have
I
to
don't
pay
need
for
to.
that.
Yeah.
You're an adult and you got to support.
I'm an adult now, my friend. You got to support
cord-cutting adult.
Support the artists.
All right, Chris. Thanks for the topics. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you for having me. It was a great time.
So I wanted to mention this at the top of the show. You used to, I doubt you still do this. You used to create quizzes on Sporkle, the trivia
Oh.
website. I don't know if there still is a Sporkle.
Oh,
Yeah, I
sport.
think so.
Yeah,
I
I
love
go there
sport.
every
it's
day.
still
Yeah.
there? Okay. Anyway, you used to make really good quizzes that I remember were more 90s based than anything.
Yeah. What was the one? It was photographs and a photograph of a photograph from a movie was the one I had sent you, and you'd done it for me. And I do
that
them once
sounds
in a while. They're just-
awesome. I wanna do
Chris
that
asked me
one.
to beta test them to make sure that they were either not too hard, I guess, or not too easy.
Yeah,
sure.
Where can we find those? Because they were really good
Oh,
quizzes.
jeez. I don't even know. God, I think it's C Kiernan 84. I think it's my Reddit handle.
Well, yeah. You're in the Reddit, so just throw it in the Reddit.
I'll throw a link up. I do those. I haven't done one in a while. They take forever. I always think they'd be good.
That's why I stopped doing them. It was just they were a time suck.
Yeah,
they were fun.
And then you have to update them. Like if it's because I do some sports ones once in a while, and it's like, oh, well, this guy has more than this now. So I'm like, oh, crap.
You guys, if you're into 90s trivia, which I'm assuming many of you are,
probably if you're listening to this
definitely
show.
Check that out. And
it's a great website too. I mean, I don't think a lot of people don't know about it, but it's just movie quizzes, TV quizzes.
I had to walk away from it because it was just such a time suck.
I don't go to it too often anymore, but when I was in law school, constantly.
Great for wrestling history.
Basically, it's a very super specific kind of trivia for everybody.
All user-made stuff. Yeah.
And then can we find you on Twitter?
Yes, it's at Chris Kiernan 1. That's I don't know. Just take my last name off of Reddit and put a Chris in front of it and a 1. I don't really tweet much. I'll tweet podcasts, mostly you guys and other places.
Wrestling stuff.
Some wrestling stuff.
So basically, like half of our listeners.
You can just follow Dan. You'll get the same exact thing.
Basically, like half of the hosts on this show.
So you are one of the halves. Where can we find your wrestling tweets?
I'm at Then Dan Says, and I liked the new SmackDown more than other people did.
There you go.
I haven't watched it yet.
I'm at Jackie No Breaks. I don't know if I've ever had a wrestling tweet, but maybe one day. But check that out and check out my spelling homework blog, Use in a Sentence. And our podcasts have some Twitter handles as well.
If you want to follow at 90s Percentile, that is the show podcast. At Worst Episode Pod is the worst episode ever one. Yeah. And also you can go to our website, which is weepodcast.com. That's weepodcast.com, which can get you our Simpsons show, Worst Episode Ever, our sync points. There's links for that up there. Those are our movie commentary series that are $2 each. And also you can get to the 90s Percentile webpage from there to submit your 90s topics. But while you are there, you should also support us by clicking our Amazon links. That helps keep the show free. You just shop like you normally would, but click our links first. And if you don't even want to click a link, clicking links too much, here's what you do. You go to amazon.wepodcast.com. Takes you right to Amazon.
I feel like the link is faster.
No. If you're typing amazon.com anyway, just add We Podcast in there.
It's very simple.
Boom.
And then we get a nice little...
And we got a little something.
A little icing on the cake.
We got a little something. And we got some other stuff that might be coming out soon, but
probably not.
Let's tease you on that.
We're lazy.
We are lazy. We're very, very lazy. But if you do want to support the show and you don't want to spend any money because you're too lazy to type in Amazon.wepodcast.com,
we get being lazy.
We get it. We totally get that. You can help us in another way by telling your friends or by leaving a review on iTunes. And we hope that you leave a 5-star. In fact, if you want to leave anything else, don't do it.
If you've been waiting to do it now, because by the time this aired, we've ran out. We have run out of iTunes We're about to use our very last one.
And if you do leave an iTunes review, you can have it read on the podcast live by one of our guests, just like Chris is going to read the final iTunes review that we have as of the date of this recording. So, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you.
This one was sent in by, I guess, Implore. And the title of it is Death 5 Stars. And they write ...
So it's
God.
Not really a review.
I think it's kind of like The Ring. I think we're all going to die in a week now.
Has death come up now? Is this it?
No, so
is this it?
I get that.
I have my knife ready, Jack. Is this it?
I get that that's what they're trying to do, but no, we need to get death in the actual random topic generator for us to kill ourselves.
Okay.
So once again, Internet, you failed to kill us.
Now, I don't understand. Implore, you gave us a 5-star review, which is great. We love that. But do you actually want us to kill ourselves? Is that what this is for?
I mean, honestly, I like being alive.
I love being alive.
I feel like if we did kill ourselves on this, it would be one of the best podcast stunts of all time.
It would probably.
We'd be the network of podcasts.
Very, very good. All right, so Chris, thanks so much for being our guest here today in the studio.
Yeah, thanks, and we'll see you in Reddit. My name is Jack.
My name is Dan, and we'll see you in another decade.